Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Mail. So for today, I'm going to read a very entertaining email that was sent from a subscriber. That's from a guy, I guess he's about 48, 49 now, and he shares his story how about 3 years ago, he'd finally had enough of his very unhappy marriage, your typical loveless, SCX-less marriage, and ended things with his wife. You're going to see that initially when they got together, they had a good thing going, but the second they had kids, boom, it was all about the kids, and he was a low man in the totem pole. And after years of enduring this, he was done. And you're going to see how he goes about it behind the scenes, and eventually ends it with her, and she ain't too happy about that. But the cool thing is, our guy now is doing great, and the funny thing is, in her way of getting even with him for dare ending a bad marriage, she decided to have a late 40s HOE phase to get even with him. And everybody, aside from her, thinks she looks ridiculous. Even her own daughters heard about this. And it's a pretty darn funny one to show you, how this type of thing happens. Really good story here. Now, before I get to the main event, I have to cover the Idiot of the Day, the new segment on this channel, about a gal who's not too happy that she has to have a job. In her mind, she's so attractive that obviously she should be able to be at home and some guy takes care of her, but instead she has to go work at a job she hates and is sounding off on TikTok about it. Check this out.
Attractive women like me should not have to work. I should be at home sipping iced coffee and journaling, but instead I'm sitting in a parking lot waiting for my shift to start at Ross. This is disgusting.
Attractive? Honey. Clearly you need to take a day off from Ross, go down to Lens Crafters, have your eyes checked out, get a new prescription, and then maybe you might see what the rest of us are seeing here. But I'll leave that up to you. But anyhow, guys, there you go. The level of entitlement doesn't make a difference. However one looks, they don't want to have a job and feel like they should be taken care of and all that. It's ridiculous. Not to mention the fact of the 5s thinking they're 10s and the 4s thinking they're 9s, or the 3s thinking they're 8s. Right there. Anyhow, pretty funny one. So, main event starts off, says here, hey SSM. Thanks for everything you do for us guys on YouTube. You've provided me with countless hours of entertainment and have helped me adapt to my new life post-divorce. This is the story of how my now ex-wife tried to get even with me by going on a HOE phase, but ultimately made a complete fool of herself. Well, we love stories like that, and usually that's what happens. So for some of the facts, my name is Steve, and my wife Allie, code names of course, got divorced in 2022. We've been married since 2002, so about 20 years. We have 2 twin daughters who were at the time 19 years old. We were both 46 years old at the time of the split. Okay, so I guess you initiated the divorce, got it rolling when you were 45. Girls were 18, I guess, so right out of high school. Well, like many marriages, ours had worn down over time. We got married in our mid-20s and immediately jumped in with both feet on getting ready to have kids, then having kids. I must say that no matter how things ended, my girls are the best thing in my life, and I don't regret a thing because I have them. Well, that's great, man. I'm just going to say we're all thinking, I just hope to God that they are, in fact, your kids. But I'm going to guess you've been watching the channel a while, you've probably done what you could to make sure of that. Well, before we were married, we obviously had a lot of fun together, a lot in common, and I thought we both really loved each other. At least I did. However, after the wedding, and especially ever since we quickly jumped into starting a family, the usual routine of everything being about the kids ensued. In other words, she bait and switched you. Second you got married, boom. It's all about having kids. And don't get me wrong, you have kids, have a family, nothing wrong with that, but she's got to make time for you. It isn't all about you bringing them the paycheck and taking care of the kids. Well, I didn't mind at first because I was so happy to be a dad. I was very lucky to have such good, loving daughters. My wife loved them too, and everything was great except for anything between the two of us was going fast, and we were becoming like roommates. So no surprise, the SCX diminished over time as well. Well, that tends to happen, but it sounds like yours, like literally the second you made your daughters, then that seemed like be about it. That sucks. We would go out on occasion, thanks to family living close by to babysit them, but as time went on, she didn't really want to do anything with me. Well, I decided that this is just how things go, and since I have my daughters and a very comfortable life financially, both myself and my wife do very well in our careers, after she went back to work, I decided this was good enough for me. Smack! No, it doesn't sound very good to me, man. No, this stinks. Sounds like you're nothing but a paycheck and a second-class citizen. I mean, that's great that you loved your daughters and they were awesome kids and everything. And that says something about you as a parent, and maybe your wife was a good parent to them, just crappy to you. But still, That's a long time to be unhappy with that. Well, for the next 16 or so years, that's pretty much how things went. What'd I just say? That's terrible, 16 years of your life. But okay, you're starting over. My daughters were nearing graduation, and the reality of a very soon empty nest was on my mind. The last 16 years had been all about the kids, and the distance between Allie and I had grown substantially. Let's just say the bedroom action had come to a halt years earlier, and I had become increasingly frustrated with her lack of interest in anything having to do with me. That's terrible, man. Thank God you ended it, but my God, all this time like that. I was the low man on the totem pole when it came to her, and frankly, I was sick and tired of being treated like a paycheck and a second-class citizen. I also made up my mind that there was no way I was going to spend the rest of my life like this. I decided that once the girls graduate and head off to school, I was going to end things. Hallelujah! Amen. Let the prison sentence end. Freedom. I know you justified the whole time staying for the daughters and then all that, and I guess obviously waited until they're legal adults before you ended the divorce, so you wouldn't have custody nonsense and child support and everything, but my God, man. I'm guessing obviously you tried and it didn't get anywhere. Well, I would like to add SSM that I tried many times over the years to spice up our marriage, go out together, take vacations just us, bedroom action, etc. She simply found excuses to turn me down and wanted everything to always be about the kids, or her parents, or her girlfriends. It's not like I didn't try to or express that I wasn't happy, she simply didn't care. There you go. Okay, you tried. But clearly she knew some way, somehow, that you weren't going anywhere. At least that's her perception. And therefore she treated like that. A man has to be always willing to walk away, and she has to know that. And I gotta say, again, what we're all thinking here probably, all that time she wasn't getting any. If she ain't getting it from you, getting it someplace else. You probably don't care anymore, but still. Well, in late August 2021, after the girls went off to college, I began the first step towards freedom. I met with an attorney. She was recommended by my best friend, who I could absolutely trust, by the way, as she had an excellent reputation. I made it clear to her that I wasn't interested in destroying my wife in any way, I just wanted a fair divorce, and hopefully split as amicably as possible. I'm going to get your hopes up. I was 45 at the time and just wanted to start my new life with as little drama as possible. My lawyer, Jill, had a little laugh and said that's what most husbands want, but it doesn't always go that way. I made it clear that I was willing to be quite reasonable so long as she was. However, if she decided to play dirty or take more than what was fair, I had zero problem going to war. Yeah, man, you have to be prepared for that. And that's why I'm glad you got a good attorney. I'm glad you got a female attorney. Yeah, nobody wants the war. Well, most guys don't want the war or the drama. They just want to get out of there. Minimal drama, but it doesn't always work that way. I then followed my lawyer's advice with making the necessary preparations, finding a new place to live, getting a new bank account in just my name, assembling all important paperwork and documents ahead of D-Day. During all this, I tried to act as normal as possible, which wasn't too difficult, as once the girls moved out, she was spending all her free time with her parents or her girlfriends. The house was quiet as a tomb, and she had zero interest in me. Any possible doubts that I was making the wrong decision was immediately squashed. Yeah, the girls move out, if there's any chance, maybe, rekindling things. Nope. You were just the roommate, the guy to help pay the mortgage and all that. Well, D-Day arrived in early October after I had secured an apartment 30 minutes away. I found a great place near my best friend Mike's house, which I knew would be helpful during what would probably be a year from hell. Once I had my bed and furniture delivered, I was ready to have the inevitable confrontation with the divorce papers. I planned to have our chat on a Sunday after she returned from some girls' event on Saturday. Girls' event, huh? I wonder how many of those were over the years. While she was gone on Saturday, Mike and two of my other friends helped me assemble and load up all my obvious belongings from our house and then dropped them off in my apartment. I waited until the last minute to make sure she didn't notice anything was off. Once I was done, I waited for her to get home on Sunday. Man, I love it. Now imagine if she had to come back early and there's all your bros there loading up, I guess, the truck or a little U-Haul or something with all your obvious belongings, clothes and stuff like that. That would have been funny. Well, on Sunday afternoon, she returned home after having brunch. I could smell a little booze in her breath when she came in the kitchen. Oh, that's responsible of her. She wasn't drunk, but definitely a little bit buzzed, which almost guaranteed a meltdown, but I didn't care. I wanted to do this and get out. Yeah, you're going to divorce and hand her the papers to a chick who obviously doesn't give a crap about you, and she's a little toasted. Gee, what can go wrong? I told her we needed to talk. Naturally, she said we can talk later, as she's tired, blah, blah, blah. I told her no, we need to talk now, and to please sit down. Well, you're being a gentleman, saying please. Still, she was not interested. Finally, I had enough and pulled out the papers and dropped them on the table. I told her I want a divorce. SSM, you always talk about women with the crazy eyes. Well, I got them. She looked completely shocked and for once speechless. Yeah, dude, I bet those eyes got pretty freaking big. And she's toasted. She probably never thought you had the balls to do this. Well, I didn't waste any time and told her it's time. Now that the girls are adults and off to college, there's no point in wasting each other's time anymore. I said, clearly you are not happy with me and I'm not happy with you. Let's not waste each other's time and we can both start over and be happy. Very sensible, very reasonable. What could go wrong? I don't know, because maybe she's a bitch. Again, to my surprise, she was silent. But I can tell she was getting ready to explode. Finally, she looked at me and yelled, "Fuck you!" and stormed out of the room and slammed the door in her bedroom. Well, that's the mimosas talking to you there. Okay, well, here's the paperwork. This is why I'm glad you got your own apartment before you did this, because you can go. You got your lawyer, your apartment, you got all your shit. Now you can let her stew in this. I'm glad you did that, man. At that point, I knew this was probably not going to be the amicable divorce that I'd hoped for, but I was not going to stick around for 1 minute longer. I've been sticking around for 19 years. You're damn right. So I left the house and immediately called my daughters and told them I need to see them today. Obviously, they sounded worried, but I told them I'm okay. It's just important we need to talk in person. I hope they don't react like your wife. As a side note, SSM, I'm proud to say that both my daughters are pretty level-headed and don't freak out like a lot of their friends their age. Thank God they didn't take after their mother. Oh, good. They took after you. Fortunately, they attend a state school, and it's only a couple hours away. I drove my truck to meet them and told them everything. To my relief, they were quite calm, and I think relieved to see that someone hadn't died. I explained everything the best I could without trashing their mother. I made it clear that we were both always loved them, but cannot be together anymore. I told them that I tried, but it just didn't work with their mom. I'm glad you took the high road in the moment and didn't trash their mother, because guarantee you she's going to trash you. Because at the end of the day, your ex-wife is still their mom. And what I'm putting together is like they had a decent relationship to that point. Fortunately for me, they weren't surprised. They said they could tell we weren't happy and they felt bad for me as they knew I tried. They love their mom, but they understand. I explained this all happened this morning and may get ugly for a while, but in the end, it's for the best. I told them where I'm living now, and again, made it clear that I'm there for them at any time. Well, that's good, man. I'm glad the first thing you did was go see them. You could easily just went and had some beers with your bros or did whatever. Talk to your daughters. You're a good dad. Well, the next few months were as crazy as you can imagine. I got a lot of angry calls and texts from Allie after D-Day. She even claimed that she wanted to work things out after the girls left. Yeah, right. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, I can tell through her behavior that she really wanted to work things out. That's what she's telling people, to make you like the bad guy and her the victim here. Please. Look, you can have people that are married unhappy, but she was obviously a real jerk to you. She tried to make me out to be the villain and with mutual friends and family, but that did not work, as everybody could tell. Naturally, her best friends took her side, but no surprise there. My daughters tried to remain neutral, but my ex's anger towards me caused them to draw a line with her about never talking bad about me in front of them. God, I love those girls. That's great, man. That takes some serious loyalty to you and maturity to draw a line with their mother. I like your daughters. There's hope in the world. As for the legal aspect, she of course tried to get as much as she possibly could. Shocker. Her lawyer was an idiot, and my lawyer Jill saw right through his charade. Since ultimately we made about the same amount of money in our professions, we both do well, there wasn't any need for alimony, ha ha ha. Oh, thank God for that. Yeah, there you go. That's a massive one. I didn't care if she kept the house, as I wanted out. I just wanted my fair share. In the end, in spite of her trying to get every nickel out of me, things were pretty much split down the middle. The only real drama was dividing up household possessions. I admit that I caved in that department a bit, but honestly, I just wanted out. Fighting over the damn dishes that grandma left you, or some other heirloom or something like that, or whatever. I would do the same thing. Let her have it. I'm out of here. I'm starting over. End of freaking story. She probably just wanted to fight the fight. So later in 2022, we were finally divorced. Hallelujah. Free man. Fortunately, she had calmed down a lot and was civil in the end. She even said this was for the best, but I knew her well enough to know that she was still resentful. Brother, she's going to be resentful for the rest of her freaking life. As you say, SSM, women hate rejection. I think she was just pissed off that I ended things first. Probably she's going to end with things with you eventually. Things were good with our daughters, and they split up their time at home between the two of us. Again, I'm blessed to have such great kids. Once the divorce was finally over and done with, I began looking for another house. I ended up with a nice 3-bedroom home not too far from my apartment. It's located in a nice, quiet neighborhood, which is exactly what I need. That's great, man. Good for you. Your own place, peace and quiet. Well, during the final months of the divorce, while I was getting used to my new life, Allie was apparently getting ready to make up for lost time. Here we go. I didn't mention earlier, but some of her girlfriends are also divorced and had really talked up the single life. Whether Allie ever cheated while we were married, I will probably never know. I also can say that I simply do not care. Once the divorce was finalized, I heard through mutual friends and even our daughters that Allie was now on the dating apps and going out a lot. Here we go. All her friends are probably buttering her up to do all this. All the guys you can get, blah, blah, blah. Let's see how this goes. My daughters, who had done a great job being neutral, definitely took a break from that to express their frustration and even embarrassment. Apparently, Allie goes out on girls' nights and girls' weekends a lot, and let's just say doesn't dress like a 46-year-old mother. She was dressing like your typical Miami girl at the club. Look, you can have good-looking women in their 40s that hit the gym and look good, but it looks ridiculous if it's a freaking mother in her 40s wearing skirts so high that her hoo-ha's hanging out and all that, and her boobs popping out. Come on here. Now, I'll admit that Allie does look good for her age. She did take care of herself through our marriage. She even lost a few pounds during our divorce, but again, she's still a mid-40s mom. While for the last couple of years, she's done this quite regularly. My girls preferred to stay with me when they were home, as they hated seeing her act like a stupid college girl. Dude, I'm really liking your daughters. They're cool. Mutual friends claim that she had said that she was making up for lost time, and this was her, wait for it, hoe phase. Actually saying that? I'll mid-late 40s mom. I never repeated that to my daughters, but I think they could connect the dots. If there's a silver lining to all this, it will hopefully encourage my daughters to never behave in this way. I hope so. So SSM, that is my story. Things have been great in my life. I'm free and I'm truly enjoying my life in a way that I never had. I work my job that I really like, hang out with my friends and daughters when they're home. I go to the gym several times a week, and I travel when I have time off. To no surprise, I have some family talking to me about one day getting married again. Oh, for God's sakes. Whenever they bring it up, I just laugh and respond, not a chance in hell. Maybe I'll have a girlfriend one day, but it will never get beyond that. Meanwhile, I keep enjoying my bachelor life and get a good laugh when I hear about Allie and her ridiculous late 40s hoe phase. Bro, great story, man. It's terrible that all those years you were in that unhappy marriage. I mean, it seemed like almost like the second you said I do, boom, let's get to making kids. And you had the kids and that's it. It's all about the kids. And I know you loved your daughters. They sound cool and you raised them right. Thank God. But still, just all those years, I just wish something could have changed. But it is what it is. A lot of guys go through that and suffer. But I'm glad at least by the time they were about to graduate, you knew you were freaking done. And I'm glad that in spite of her tantrum, when, fuck you, when you told her you're getting divorced, then in the end, it ended civil enough and, you weren't hammered by other things. I think it's key that you both made comparable income, and that's why you didn't get hit with the alimony and obviously didn't care about the house and all that, and all that. But I'm glad you got a great relationship with your daughters. I think you get to have a good laugh hearing about your freaking ex-wife. I mean, I'm sure she's being passed around by Chad and Tyrone. I'm not hearing anything about a boyfriend yet, probably because if she looks good for her age, yeah, there's going to be guys that want to bang her. But beyond that, good luck. I don't think she'll be back looking for a second chance. I know that I said they always come back. This may be the case they don't. You never know. But it's because obviously, hey, maybe I could be wrong. Maybe in 6 months it's been like 3 years since you've been divorced, but you never know. Maybe when she gets tired of being passed around, then eventually she'll come out. Who knows? But regardless, you can have fun hearing her stories and you're enjoying the bachelor life. And that's great for you, man. And yeah, of course, family and probably some friends, maybe female friends, are going to probably try to get you to talk about getting married one day. What's the point? Why would you want to go through that again? You got kids anyway. You got daughters. It's not like, you get married typically to have kids. You don't need to do that again. And down the road, if you don't have a girlfriend, okay, fine. But there's no pressure, nothing like that. But don't get married. And have a much more indifferent, take them or leave them attitude with them. And make sure any girlfriend you have in the future knows that if you're pushed too far or disrespected or treated in the way that your ex-wife treated you, boom, you're out of there. That's my one thing I want to suggest, but I hope you know that. But anyhow, bro, good story. I'm glad you're doing well. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Give this guy a shout out. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.